Very good. Good evening to everybody. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Is there any emergency traffic before we start the net? Okay, hearing none, QST, QST, QST. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet originating from the Maltese Islands. This net meets every 2 weeks on Thursday at 8 p.m. Central European Time to discuss topics related to amateur radio and the island's ham radio clubs. This is a directed net, and all calls go through net control. Special thanks to 9H1 Sugar Fox, Steve, and 9 Hotel 5 Fox Alpha, Tony, for making this possible, to 9H5 Sugar Nancy, Marco, and 9H1GP, Mark, for allowing the use of the 9H1UHF-R repeater, and to 9 Hotel 5 Yankee Victor, Glenn, for allowing us to use the same branding as the 9H-HAM Radio Facebook page, which he administers. To join and participate, please connect to the 9H1UHF repeater on 430.875 megahertz with an offset of plus 7.6 megahertz and a tone of 88.5 hertz, or to Echolink node 552882, labeled 9H1UHF-R on Echolink. Listeners may also connect to the 9H-HAM room on Jitsi Meet at https://meet.jit.si/9HAM. Now let me repeat that. https://meet.jit.si/9HAM. Or monitor a live stream on YouTube named 9H-HAM GlobalNet. One word. Okay, the agenda for tonight's net will be check-ins, of course, any announcements, and if you have announcements, just let me know when you're checking in, and a general discussion. Today we were thinking about having a general discussion about the features and the specs of the 9H1UHF repeater. We'll see when we get there to get that information. This is Net Control, November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey. I will pause periodically for late check-ins. Let's start the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. I will now take check-ins from mobile stations only. Mobile stations only. Please give your call sign twice, slowly and phonetically, and also give your name and advise if you have any traffic or announcements for today's or tonight's net. Please allow 5 seconds between check-ins. Mobile stations only. Please come now. Let me give a second call for mobile check-ins, mobile stations only. If there are any, please come now. Okie dokie, with pen in hand, and make sure it's going to be writing. There we go. I will now take check-ins from stations connected to the 9H1UHF repeater. Please leave a 5-second pause between check-ins. Check-ins from the 9H1UHF repeater. Come now, please.
evening. This is 9 Hotel 1 Sugar Fox. 9 Hotel 1 Sugar Fox. Operator would be Steven, and I have no traffic at the present time. And good evening to everybody. Microphone back to you, Jerry.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. The name is Anthony, and I have no traffic at the present moment. Over to you, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.
Any more check-ins from the 9H1UHF repeater?
Good evening, colleagues. This is 9 Henry 5 Tango Bravo. The name is Ray, and no traffic at the time being.
Alrighty, I confirm 9 Hotel 1 Sugar Fox, 9 Hotel 5 Fox Alpha, and 9 Hotel 5 Tango Bravo. Good evening to all three. Any other check-ins from the 9H1UHF repeater?
Golf 0 Bravo India Alpha, G0 BIA.
5-second pause between check-ins, and I will listen for each station, and then when we're through, I will give the call signs back. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, taking check-ins from the Echo Link 9H1UHF-R link.
Nine Hotel 1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra. 9 Hotel 1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra. Charles Slima. And I think I heard someone else whilst you were talking, Jerry. Back to you.
It'd be easier if you just go one by one and give your call sign and check in, and I'll jot them down, and then I'll pick it up at the end. Otherwise, the net will just get longer and longer and longer. So, one by one, give a 5-second pause. Any more check-ins from the 9H1UHF-R Echo Link link?
Net control. Please acknowledge 9 Hotel 1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra Charles Slima Malta.
Okay, Charlie, I heard you the first time. Any more stations? And you can just give your call sign, and then the next station checking in, and keep going one after the other, and then I'll pick them up at the end. Go ahead.
Golf 1 Tango Yankee Victor, 9th Martin, no traffic from the UK.
Knowledge 9H1FBS and G1 Tango Yankee Victor. Good evening to you, Martin, Charlie, everybody else. Any other check-ins from the Echo Link link for the net?
Golf 0 Bravo India Alpha, G0 BIA, name's Ian.
Very good, Ian. Good evening to you. Golf 0, Bravo, India, Alpha. So let's see if we have any late check-ins. Any late check-ins from the 9H1UHF repeater?
Five Tango Sierra.
Lima Bravo, 9 Hotel 2 Lima Bravo.
Good, I acknowledge. 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra and 9H2 Lima Bravo. Good evening to both of you. Any other check-ins from the 9H1UHF repeater? Okay, hearing none. Any other check-ins from the Echolink link? Hearing none. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Any checkers that are listening via Jitsi, and give me the call sign slowly, and I'll jot them down. And 7APW. Hearing none, let me proceed to announcements. Does anybody have any announcements for the net this evening?
November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey from 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey from 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox. Do you copy, Jerry?
I do. Go ahead. 9H1SF and 7APW with the net.
Very good. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey from 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox. Okay, once again, good evening to everybody on the repeater and also on Jitsi there. There's a good number on Jitsi appearing this evening. And also good evening to all the stations connected up to the repeater. Okay, Gary, thank you once again for this evening, for helping us. And just to let you know that we were doing some maintenance today on the tower. As always, every year we bring the tower down to do maintenance, and we've moved on to the second stage of the maintenance there on the tower. So that's all I got to say at the present time. But yes, we are moving forward, obviously, on the tower there. You know, it takes time to do, but we've got the time to do it now as the clubs are closed because of the COVID there. So it's the best time we can do it. Now the weather also is warming up a bit. It does not bother you to work outside. Anyway, I will pass the microphone back to the net controller, which is you, Gary, and we will speak a bit later on. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, net controller. This is 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox.
Very good. 100% copy. 9 Hotel 1 Sugar Fox, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey net control. Are there any questions or comments for 9 Hotel 1 Sugar Fox? Okay, hearing none. If anybody is on Jitsi and hasn't checked in over the repeater, please let me know so that I can take the call signs down as well as check-ins. So, are there any stations that did not check in via the repeater that are using Jitsi? And someone who is on Jitsi can give me the call signs, and I'd truly appreciate it.
Sorry, Jerry. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey from 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox. On Jitsi, at the present time, there's myself, 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox. There's Trevor. There's also 9 Hotel 5 Hotel Papa. And also there's Anthony, 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. There's Jonathan Galia, 9 Hotel 1 Mike Delta, Mario, and there's Francis, 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Mike. Did you copy, Jerry? November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey from 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox.
Very good. I copied everything except the last call sign. Can you please repeat the last call sign?
Okay, the last call sign would have been Francis, 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Mike. 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Mike. QSL.
Do either Mario or Trevor have a call sign? Go ahead.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra. That's my call sign. This is Trevor Samut, okay?
Okay, Trevor, let me see if I got them all right. If I don't, somebody please correct me. On Jitsi, there is 9 Hotel 5 Hotel Papa, 9 Hotel 1 Mike Delta. There is Mario, there is Trevor, 9H5 Hotel Sierra, and 9 Hotel 5 Fox Mike. Did I get them all correct, or did I mess them up?
Yes, 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sugar. 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sugar. Negative the hotel. 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sugar, which is Trevor. QSL.
Okay, thank you for the correction. 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sugar. Very good. Before we go further into the net, are there any late check-ins for the net? Well, that sounded like Chuck Berry, so I don't think he has a call sign. Any other check-ins for the net? Okay, hearing no further check-ins, this is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, Net Control Station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Any other announcements for the net?
November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. I'd just like to announce, with your permission, that after the net is over, the same YouTube channel will be streaming with full acknowledgement the most recent news from the Amateur Radio Newsline website. So there'll be a short 5-minute headline news followed by a 20-minute full bulletin of the most for the most recent amateur radio newsline report. And the Facebook page will also, after the stream is over, host the full URL and acknowledgements of this report. Back to you, at control. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Thank you very much for reminding me of that. I'll have to also include it in the preamble for the net. The YouTube channel, you can easily find it on YouTube by typing in 9H-HAM space GlobalNet, one word, GLOBALNET. And it carries the net live on YouTube, and afterwards the Newsline report for this week will be broadcast as well. The Newsline report has information from around the world as far as the activities about ham radio and ham radio operators. Any contests, any emergencies that the ham radio community has helped in, and other interesting news. It's a good report. I've always enjoyed listening to it, and I've been listening to it for probably the last 30 years. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. At this point, we're over to our little discussion. And let me see, is 9H1GP Mark or Marco available today, or are they listening on the net? This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey.
November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox. I will get in contact with Mark and see if he can come up on the radio. I think he's forgotten. But I will get in contact with him now. So please continue. November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey from 9 Hotel 1 Sugar Fox.
9 Hotel 1 Japa Lima for a quick check-in. But unfortunately I can't stick around, my friends. Quick hello to everybody. Over to you, Jerry, 78PWNH1 Japa Lima.
Well, I got you checked in, and thank you for coming over to check in. 9 Hotel 1 Japan Lima. I understand sometimes our schedules get busy, but I hope you're having a good day, and we'll have a good evening and a good night. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station of this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Are there any other late check-ins for the net? Hearing none, does anybody have any topic or information that they'd like to share with the net while we're waiting possibly for Mark 9H1 Golf Papa to give us some information about the 9H1UHF repeater that we're all connected to? Come now, please.
Which one of the yes with a query, or should I say an observation?
To come on at the moment because he's still out. Maybe he will, if he gets in time, he'll probably try to come in. Joe, 9 Hotel 1, Juliet Lima, 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox. Can you please contact Marco because I haven't got his mobile number. Joe, yourself.
One Japa Lima. My mobiles are downstairs. I have to go downstairs and give him a call. A quick some information about the repeater. Whether the repeater is located in Mtarfa. It's a very high location, very close to the club there station, Marconi club station there, very close, and it's operating there. It's a homemade repeater there from Marco 9H1 GP 9H5SM, and got a couple of antennas. One antenna is working and the other is spare. It's on standby over there, so we've got good coverage of with the repeater all around Malta, just about. I can vouch for it myself, as I'm out and about all day long, and I'm on the radio most of the time. So anybody wants to call in during the day, I'm on standby on and off. So do call in and I'll come back to you there if I hear you there. So that's a quick roundup of the RU70 repeater, which can also reach into Sicily there. I tried it myself there when I was driving on the south side of Sicily. It can reach way up, nearly right to the tip of Trapani. So causing, of course, also with conditions, depending on conditions there. But I don't want to keep it too long, guys. I have to make it short. Unfortunately, it's dinner time for us over here, so I have to go off and get dinner there. So, but I'll try and be on later on. I don't know how long you're going to be around over here. Right, Steve, I'm going to make this my final for now and try and reach Marco SN and tell him to come on there if possible. So entries from me. This is 9H1UHF-R signing off, and over to the controller. Over to you, Jerry.
Well, thank you very much, 9H1JL and 7APW. I have two quick questions for you before you leave, and I know you need to go eat. That's important. What is the power output of the repeater, and where are the areas on Malta, especially where it's not very good coverage? And I'll let you go. Thank you.
Okay, well, power, I think it's around 10 watts. It's not much, 10 to 15 watts most. It doesn't run a lot of power. It's got a full wave collinear antenna, which does a good job there for the repeater. And I would say it's around the 95% of Malta, 95% coverage of Malta. I will give it 95%. Certain locations, of course, there's a lot of screening down around the Slima area, but it's reachable also there in Slima. It's reachable in Slima. And on the coast road there, it's a little bit on the negative side on the coast road. And sometimes in the valley sides up north, because on the southern side of the island it's all flat. And it's quite reachable right down to the southern tip there. It's very efficient, there. So that's a little bit of more information. But Marco 9H5SM will give you all the details exactly how much power is running exactly and all that, because they control the power output and all that. Okay, there. I hope that answered a little bit of your questions over there. Jerry, go ahead.
Oh, perfectly. Thank you very much for stepping up, and thank you for all the information. I hope you have a great dinner and a great evening, and we'll catch you further down the log. 9 Hotel 1 Juliet Lima, this is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Charlie, 9H1FBS, you had an observation. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, net control 9H1FBS returning. It seems that we Maltese people all speak fast, but anyway, I'll try to keep it slow. One observation is that the coast road was always a problem with repeater. The coast road is located, between St. Julian's and Salina. For those people who are not familiar with Malta and are listening in, I'm very happy to hear that it covers 95% of the island, and that Slima was singled out as I'm not surprised, because over here there is a lot of building, and it's going to be more and more building. And the observation is, I want to put it to you all, as Malta and the rest of the world, are going, the rest of the Western world, let's say that, are going over to daylight saving or summertime? Are we going to keep the same time in Central European time? Is it going to be 8 o'clock in summer as well? That's my question. And I'll put it back over to you. It was a very nice day today, Jerry, and the friends from the UK there who are listening in. Quite a brilliant day, actually. There were some clouds, but a nice 17 degrees Celsius helped to make that easier. And 7APW, 9H1FBS with the, I don't know if I can get my tongue around that one, 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Very good. Oh, yeah, I'm still awake. And 7APW, 9H1FBS.
I hope you are, Charlie. It's not even 9 o'clock yet. 9H1FBS. Thank you for that. Tony or Steve, any comments about what happens when we change to summertime? November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey.
November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. I'd just like to pass on the information that Mark 9H1GP will not be able to be with us this evening. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that information. And Charlie, I haven't heard any answer, so that's to be determined. I understand summertime is probably a month away, but I'll make a note of it, and I will have an answer at the next net. And the question was, when we go over to summertime, excuse me, when we go over to summertime, will the net time change? And I'll get you an answer by next time, which is 2 weeks from today. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Are there any other questions, comments, or anything regarding this discussion about the repeater or any other topic that you may have? November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, standing by. Hearing none, are there any other late check-ins for the net? Hearing none, does anybody have anything else for the 9H-HAM GlobalNet this evening?
Nine Hotel 5 Tango Sierra here. I don't know, Anthony, if it's the right timing. Mostly addressing 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. I remember that part of the topics of this net you asked me about the port forwarding issue with the Echo Link, Roger.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Yes, positive, Trevor. I think it's a problem which several people occasionally face, including myself. So Echo Link tends to not communicate with the repeater unless one goes to a proxy server. And the issue is clearly with some ports not being open and with the requirement of port forwarding. So it would be very useful if you could perhaps throw some light on this issue, because it is an issue which several people have been experiencing. And so this is a talk about the PC version, because the Android version seems to work perfectly well, irrespective of whatever network you're connected to. But the PC version seems to create some problems for a number of individuals. May I suggest to net control that Trevor, 9H1, 9H5 Tango Sierra, throw some light on this issue, because this is something which he has experienced, he has dealt with, and he has sorted. This is 9H5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Very good. 9H5 Foxtrot Alpha and 9H5 Tango Sugar, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. That's a very interesting topic as well. So, Trevor, I'll give you the floor and give us some information about that. A lot of us who have been using Echolink have come across this issue, and some of the people who are listening who would like to connect via the PC version of Echolink might find the information very useful. 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sugar and the net, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.
Thank you, Net Control. This is 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra, Trevor here. Thank you for the floor and the mic. Yes, absolutely. The issue you will encounter with Echolink is always going to be, or very likely going to be, a bit of an improper implementation of UPnP. Now let me explain, okay? UPnP is a protocol that opens ports for you, or at least that's the way it's supposed to work. Now, sometimes the matter can be with Echolink, sometimes it's with Android, sometimes it's your phone, sometimes it's the network card in your phone, the network chip, or your PC. It can be various issues normally related to lack of ports opening. Now, one of the issues would be that you might either be able to speak or listen only, rather. You're usually able only to listen, but not able to speak, because your data packets won't get to the server. Okay, so sometimes it's the other way around as well. So the solution is as follows. First and foremost, okay, you must decide where you're going to use Echolink. So you're going to use it on your PC, your Android, your Apple, or whatever, okay? It doesn't matter what device it is, as long as you stick to it. The next step would be to assign an IP address that is the same always for your device. Now you can do this twofold, okay? You can either do a DHCP reservation in your router, you assign a specific device to always take the same IP, or you can set the IP address of your device to be always the same, say in a home environment 192.168.0.50, okay? So that would be the next step. And why do you have to do so? Because if you don't do this step, your device is going to take a fresh IP every time you connect to the internet, okay? And then what you have to do is go to your router at home, and Echolink uses these specific ports. If you want to write them down or Google them, okay? UDP ports 5198 and 5199, and there is outbound TCP ports 5200. So essentially there are 3 ports. 2 are UDP and 1 is TCP. Okay? You need to forward them where? You need to forward them to the device that you're using for Echolink, and that's why you need to know its internal IP address. And that's why you need to set it up as static or put a DHCP reservation. This is all IT stuff, I know, and maybe I apologize a bit in terms of the topic, but at the same time, you need to know this if you want to solve this problem kind of forever, so to speak. So I hope you got all of that. 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra, Mike, back to the net controller. Go ahead.
Very good. 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. And obviously the other choice is to use a proxy. Is that correct?
9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra returning.
A proxy might be a solution and might be not. A proxy is very likely going to create delays, and the proxy itself can block ports. So that's a bit of a nifty solution. Could work for you, but I would advise doing a proxy just for echo link, unless your connection is already going to a proxy. And of course, I put a little disclaimer here that some ISPs, some internet service providers, but really the special ones, not like Melita or Go, okay? You need to have some business-to-business link or some special connections. Those might have some restrictions on them. So your ISP might be rerouting specific ports unless you go to the router of the or get access to whatever is routing you, and you need to forward ports. So it's the same principle. By their very nature, ISPs do not block any ports, okay? Contrary to popular belief. They don't even need to go into that. So that's the user problem, so to speak. But the router you have at home is normally administered. You can administer it or ask for access to administer it. If you want to solve that problem as well, you can just select it as bridge mode, switch your modem at home as a bridge mode. But that means that you need to have your own router. So be very, very careful. Don't do that unless you have a router and know what you're doing to configure a router. So proxy is not exactly the ideal solution. Roger?
Good. Well, that was nice to know that they don't block the ISPs, the cable ISPs, if I might call them that, don't block 5198, 99, and 5200. And just to repeat, the ports that need to be opened are UDP 5198 and 5199 and TCP 5200 going outbound. And what what needs to be done is you have to assign that PC the same for it to get the same IP address, because when you assign these ports, they are attached to an IP address. And so if your PC, every time you connect to your network, your internal network is picking up a different IP address, those ports will stop being available because the router sends them to a specific IP address, and now your PC has a different IP, and so you're back to square one, not being able to connect. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Are there any questions or comments regarding the Echo Link setup that 9H5 Tango Sugar has just talked about? Hearing none. Trevor, do you have anything to add to what you've already covered? Go ahead.
November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. I have one comment about Trevor's feedback. I've noticed that the Android version of Echo Link offers different options to connect to the Echo Link server. It offers a direct option, which is similar to what the PC option does. It offers a proxy connection through a list of Echo Link proxies. So there are a number of sort of free Echo Link proxies. But then there's this added option which says relay, which is only apparently available on the Android version. It's not available on the PC version. And by default, when you install the Android app, it actually defaults to this relay connection network mode, what it calls the relay network mode here. I'm not sure exactly where that relay is or how it's connecting, but what I do know is that using the Android app, any sort of network connection, I mean, I've used it with several Wi-Fi hotspots all around the island and out of the island, and I've used it with data, 3G or 4G, and without any sort of extra configuration, it just works out of the box. The Android app works out of the box, as long as it defaults this relay connection mode, okay, which is actually default when you install it. This relay connection is not available on the PC. On the PC, you either have to have a direct connection, in which case you have to do the port forwarding, which Trevor mentioned, or you can choose from a list of Echolink proxy servers. Not sure what this relay connection actually is. Perhaps Trevor has some feedback on this. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. This is 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sierra. Can I take the mic?
Absolutely, go ahead. N7APW.
Thank you. Yes, I know about the relays, and it's the default. Okay, but be very careful because the same limitations apply. I'll explain. Relays generally do give the best performance, but there are limitations that apply. Okay, and this is according to Echolink FAQs as well. You can initiate a connection using a relay, but you cannot receive one. And stations that try to connect to you will receive an error saying no route available. Now these relays are like volunteers Echolink node, okay? And when you get the no route available, it means that the Android or iPhone users that are using the relay mode cannot connect to each other. Because there's only a small number of relay servers, you often cannot connect to the same conference or conference server that another node using the relay mode is already connected to. So this means that two Android or iPhone users that are using the relay mode often cannot join the same conference at the same time. So truly and really, if you want the solid solution there, and if Echolink is giving you trouble because of, I don't know, maybe the router is not reading the UPnP, or maybe UPnP is disabled in your router, okay? The best solution is to forward ports to specific ports, those ports that we mentioned and were repeated by the net control, to the IP address of your device. Could be your PC, your Android phone, etc. Now, UPnP is often implemented in software. So it could be the case that your Android client, the software, has a later version or a better version implemented. So that's why it might work on Android but not work on Apple or vice versa. Roger? Roger, and thanks, Trevor. You have given me some work to do this weekend, experimenting with port forwarding. Okay, thanks a lot. I'll be doing some. I do have two routers at home, so I've got my own router, and I can connect it up to the bridge. And I have configured my own router, so I'll try both options. I'll try connect sort of using my router, the bridge connection, and I'll try using the original ISP router and see which option works best. But thanks a lot. I mean, UPnP clearly isn't working from my PC. I mean, at the moment, this conference is being streamed through Echolink, connected through an Echolink proxy server. Okay, so I've had a very iffy connection unless I do that. But having with sort of with Echolink, because other applications seem to handle it fine. And the UPnP is switched on from my router. So I'll do some experimenting this weekend, and so might actually get a better stream next net. Back to net control. This is 9 November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. This is 9 Hotel 5 Fox Alpha, and thank you, Trevor. Got a final comment, net control, if I may?
Go ahead. Go ahead, 9 Hotel 5 Tango Sugar, November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control.
Good luck, Anthony. Nice to see you on Jitsi as well. Fantastic. Good luck with the experimenting. Keep in mind, okay, and this applies for everyone, I guess. In your home network, although the router tries to find a solution if you have more than one DHCP server, that's the server that gives IP internally, okay, you must only have one DHCP server at home. Now, what happens to many people I know, okay, or people I meet to ask me questions? You leave your modem or router given by our ISP set up as default, and that means that it's doing routing as well. And you add your own router, and that gives you yet another DHCP server, another routing protocol, another subnet, and another complication. So if you're forwarding ports just on the second router, and you have two DHCP servers, you're forwarding them to the first router, or creating issues or problems of sorts. Now the problem is that both routers try to solve your problem by creating two subnets sometimes, or just to give you internet. But in these port issues, you won't be able to work. So what you need to do is, if you have your own router, okay, your router, get the Go or Melita or whatever you have set as bridge mode, just like a dumb modem. That's all you need from your ISP, just a modem. Then do your own routing that way, okay? If you have any questions, of course, or need assistance, send me, and you have my email address, Trevor with a Gmail, so feel free, okay? Thank you, Trevor. I'm addressing Trevor with permission of Net Control. Thanks, Trevor. Yes, my second router, my own router is in bridge mode at the moment, but I have taken care that the WAN side is a static IP, and it's connected, and the ISP router is giving me among the same C class, and I don't have two routing systems which one, so I only have one router, one DHCP server, which actually connects to several Wi-Fi extenders spread throughout the house, but only one is actually doing routing, which is my own router. I will do some experimenting this weekend, and you'll hear from me for sure. Thanks very much for this feedback. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Back to Net Control. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Very good. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, Net Control Station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Are there any other questions or comments regarding this Echolink conversation that we're having?
I have one, 9H1UHF-R.
Okay, go ahead, Charlie.
After 8 o'clock at night, it's Charles. Okay, Trevor, I am going to contact you and see if I can set up a link with you. I have the same problem. I am going through a proxy server, but I would like to go direct, and I think that this is the right way to go about it. So if this can be done, the question is, can this be done remotely? You know, if I get together with you on TeamViewer, I think I have TeamViewer. Yeah, I do. Maybe we could fix something up. I don't think I can do this myself. I've been computing since the 90s, but where these highly technical issues arise, I'm not very good at that. I'll put it back to you, Net Control, and then you can put it back to Trevor.
Okay, Charlie, back to Trevor.
Charlie, yes, you're most welcome to send me a mail. We can set Team Viewer, yes, but it cannot really be done remotely for the reason that it's very likely that I will lose you. And the reason is that as soon as we set bridge mode to your modem, okay, so be very careful about this, you lose connection. Furthermore, to complicate things, if you have Melita modem, which is not difficult to set up, but has a really nasty interface, okay, it's a fleshed custom firmware there going on. It changes its IP schema to 192.168.100.x, okay, the 1 usually. Sometimes you have to specify its own port, which is 8080. If I remember, yes, it is 8080. And that can get iffy, and you'll be on your own because the connection will be lost. You'll have no connection to your PC. Routing will be down. So be a bit careful. I think you would need a bit of help on site or get some good documentation going on there for you. If someone can maintain internet, then yes, I can be guided a bit remotely, but I don't recommend it if you're like totally green or not confident in doing this, on the bridge mode especially, okay? So what you can start is doing the port forwarding and use the same router that the ISP gave you and just put the routing on it, the port forwarding, sorry, on it. So there's no need to put it in bridge mode in that particular case, unless you want full control and you want to do your own routing on your own hardware. If you don't want to go that route, you can keep the ISP modem, Go or Melita, whatever, okay, and forward these specific ports to a particular IP address. If that's the case, then yes, that remotely can be done, and yes, I can help you, no problem there, Roger.
May I, Jerry?
Go ahead, Charlie.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the second option. I think it's the easiest. Due to my visual impairment, I don't think I can do it on my own, Trevor. So I'll contact you and we'll see if we can do this. I think I'll go for the second option. You know, keep the Go router as it is, and go for port forwarding. Thank you very much, Trevor. Back to you, Jerry.
Okay, very good. Let's clear the air a little. A lot of mumbo jumbo here. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Correct me if I'm wrong, Trevor. Unless you have your own router, you cannot set the ISP's router in bridge mode and still pass traffic to your local area network, which is the network set up in your house. In order for you to turn bridging on the ISP's router, you have to have your own router connected to the system. Otherwise, you have to choose option 2, which is to leave the router configured the way it is, the ISP router, and then open the ports, UDP and TCP ports, for Echolink to be able to do a direct connection. Is that correct, Trevor? 9H5 Tango Sugar, November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey with the net.
L5 Tango Sierra returning, sorry, net control. I doubled on you just for a few seconds there. Thank you, Steve, for letting me know on Jitsi. Yes, that's absolutely correct and absolutely well explained. Yeah. So you need to know your device, your MAC address of your device. I think those can be a bit of a challenge. So then you can assign the same IP always to the same device. So it's always a bit of a challenge as well, because it's a Go modem. Sometimes it misbehaves when assigning the HTTP reservations. Usually such devices given by your ISP are not that good for, except for being defaults just about. So I probably can relate their net control. Go ahead.
I sure can. Used to be my job. From the ISP end. Very good. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. You brought back a lot of memories. Does anybody have any other questions or comments regarding Trevor's discussion? Hearing none, thank you very much, Trevor, for that information and guidance. And of course, just like every other time, thanks to everybody who chooses to help someone else to have a better ham radio station. Are there any late check-ins for the net?
I mean, my router has got 5 levels of admin access, and I think I've got access up to level 3. But that's enough to set up port forwarding. Now, if one forwards port from the ISP's router to the personal router, and then forwards again from the personal router to the IP address of the computer running Echolink, would that solve the problem? So there are 2 forwarding steps: one from the ISP's router to the personal router, one from the personal router to the reserved IP address of the computer running Echolink. Would that solve the problem without having to go into bridge mode? Back to you, net control. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Go ahead, Trevor.
Control, Anthony, no, it's very unlikely, and that gives me reason to think that you actually have 2 DHCP servers. It's very likely that you'll have, and you won't realize. So, that's why you need to set the first one as bridge mode to stop it doing routing. You need only to have one router that assigns IPs to all your devices in your network, unless, of course, you have like 2,000 devices at home and you want to split them in floors or something like businesses do. But I'm sure it's unlikely to be the case in a home environment. Roger?
Roger. Okay, thank you very much. I'll be experimenting with bridge mode this weekend. Thank you, Trevor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha, back to net control.
Very good. Very good. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. It's like 2 people cooking in a kitchen. Oh, it needs a little more salt. Oh, no. I put salt already. Oh, why didn't you tell me? So, in networks, small and big, the rule of thumb is very simple. Keep it simple. Otherwise, you will create problems that you just will not believe. And it doesn't really matter. Networks large and small, all operate under the same basic functions and rules. And once things get complicated, and I've walked into a place and I've just said, okay, let's start from square one again. This is there are too many hands in the pot, so to speak. All righty. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. Does anything have anything further for the net? Are there any late check-ins? I will stand by. Okay, hearing none, with no additional traffic or comments for the net, this is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, and my name is Jerry, net control station for this evening's session of the 9H-HAM GlobalNet. There were, according to my count, 15 check-ins for tonight's net. I would like to thank the repeater trustees for the 9H1UHF repeater for the use of their repeater. This public service net meets every 2 weeks on Thursday night at 8 p.m. local time. I also want to thank everyone who has checked in to tonight's net. I am now returning the use of this repeater to normal amateur radio use. Great net. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, 73s. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, in about 5 minutes on the YouTube link, there will be a rebroadcast of the amateur radio newsline. So, having said that, this is on 7APW, 73s, and good evening.
From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2259, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. Regrouping to accommodate the pandemic, a respected emergency communications event has been able to extend its reach far beyond the Pacific Northwest.
For the first time in its 20 years, Communications Academy is going global. The pandemic has turned the two-day Emergency Preparedness Conference in Pacific Northwest into a live online event with possibilities for international participation. It's being held this year on April 10th and 11th. Although it attracts a sizable number of hams, attendees needn't be amateur radio operators. In fact, many of the presenters are hams, including Tom Cox, VE6TOX, ICS consultant for Alberta Emergency Management Agency, Jason Bierman, KI7KVP, director of Snohomish, Washington's Department of Emergency Management, and Ward Silver, N0AX, will present on station grounding and bonding. If you're anywhere in the world and want to sharpen your emergency communication skills, this is a free opportunity to receive training while getting real-time access to presenters. Although the presentations will be recorded, the experts will be available for live chat with attendees in question and answer sessions. Tim Helming, WT1IM, told Newsline in an email that Com Academy is the only surviving significant event in Washington state and was made possible by switching to a virtual event. He said, quote, "It promises to be a great training opportunity for all of us in Washington state and perhaps beyond," end quote. For details or to register, visit comacademy.org. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Christian Kudnick, K0STH.
Field Day is coming up, and the ARRL says last year's pandemic rule changes will stand pat.
To ensure that clubs and individuals have adequate planning time for Field Day this year, the ARRL has announced that the same modified rules from last year's pandemic plan will be in place this year, along with new power limits for Class D and Class E stations. Both are home stations, with Class C operating on emergency power. Both will have a limit of 150 watts PEP. As with last year's scoring, club scores will be a sum of all individual entries, attributing their points to a club. Field Day will be held on June 26th and 27th. Additional updates are available on the Facebook page of the ARRL and the ARRL's own Field Day page on its website, arrl.org.
Newsline anchor Stephen Kinford in 8WB. Congratulations to the California 9th grader and amateur radio operator who was among those students to win the prestigious Congressional App Challenge.
Sean Donnellan, KM6NGN, is the author of an amateur radio app for mobile devices that simplifies coordination tasks for net controllers overseeing hams in the field at public service events. The app, 9H-HAM, was the top winner in the 2020 Congressional App Challenge in his home state's 11th congressional district. The United States House of Representatives established the nationwide award 8 years ago to inspire students in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. The award is being given out this year in 308 of 435 congressional districts. The app makes use of a Raspberry Pi 4B, an Arduino, and a next-gen HMI touch display. To see it in action, watch Sean's demonstration video at the web address you'll find in this week's newscast script at arnewsline.org. Well done, Sean. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG.
On a related note, the nominating period for the 2021 Newsline Bill Pasternak WA6ITF Young Ham of the Year Award will open on March 1st. You'll find the nominating form and all information on our website, arnewsline.org. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at arnewsline.org. With Christian Kudnick, K0STH, Stephen Kinford, N8WB, Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wellbanks, AE5DW 73. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.
Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2260 with a release date of Friday, February 19th, 2021 to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. The pandemic stirs a radio training surge in the UK. Huntsville's Hamfest is back, and an antenna reconnects Voyager 2 to Earth. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2260 comes your way right now.
From around the world, this is Newsline, amateur radio's independent, on-the-air news and bulletin service. And now reporting from Valparaiso, Indiana, here's Paul Brown, WD9GCO.
Our top story this week brings us back once again to COVID-19 and its impact on amateur radio. The news here, however, is good. Very, very good. Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, explains.
The challenge of a deadly pandemic has stirred unprecedented interest in amateur radio in the UK. As the COVID-19 crisis kept most of the country immobilised, last year the Radio Society of Great Britain rolled out remote invigilation of licence exams. Now, some of the free popular distance learning programmes are reporting a surge in applicants for foundation licence and upgrade exam training. Approaching its 17th of February application deadline, the Bath-based distance learning team told Newsline its new full licence course has had an overwhelming response. Team leader Steve Hartley, G0FUW, said in an email that with 100 spaces available, the class is already oversubscribed, as organisers sort through some 250 inquiries. This exceeds the previous annual registration for the course, one of several offered by the Bath and District Amateur Radio Club. Steve continued that some registrants for the full licence class are those who had trained in its intermediate class. In another email, RSGB President Dave Wilson, M0OBW, praised those providing online training, saying the Society website offers a list of these groups. RSGB Communications Manager Heather Parsons added that having more time to devote to radio now was only one reason amongst many given for the upsurge in interest. In Nottingham, the South Notts Amateur Radio Club said enrolment for its foundation, intermediate and full licence online training classes have likewise attracted high levels of applicants. Club Secretary Simon Strange, M0SYS, told Newsline that he now has to lead training 3 nights a week to meet the intense demand. He said the classes include men, women and children. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
To see a full list of organizations offering online training in the UK, see the printed script of this newscast on our website, arnewsline.org. We also note that the RSGB has announced a consultation seeking views of the new direct full license exam to run parallel to the 3-tier system in place. The Society's Examination Standards Committee is keeping the consultation period open until the 14th of March. A link to the proposed syllabus is also on our arnewsline.org website. If you'd like to go to a Hamfest, really go to a Hamfest, you'll get your chance this August at the Von Braun Center. Don Wilbanks, AE5DW, has the details.
Finally, some good news about ham radio conventions. On Tuesday, February 16th, it was announced that plans are going forward for the Huntsville Hamfest in Alabama. Mark Brown, N4BCD, Huntsville Hamfest chairman, made the following statement on the convention website, hamfest.org. The Hamfest board has met with the Von Braun Center to learn about the current rules and regulations for mass gatherings. In short, the insurmountable obstacles that prevented us from hosting a Hamfest last year have relaxed to the point where we can host a safe and successful event. Additionally, our survey of commercial and flea market vendors on their plans to attend returned very encouraging sentiments. Adjustments to the floor plan are being made to keep everyone safe, in particular 12-foot aisle spacing. Additional space will be utilized this year to accommodate the commercial and flea market vendors and visitors. Once that floor plan is defined in a few weeks, we'll open the web portal up for vendor registration. We highly recommend visitors to purchase tickets online this year. Will call windows will be set up to streamline the Saturday morning crush. The ticket web portal will open in a few weeks. The Hamfest board is excited at the prospect of holding a live gathering in a safe way for everyone attending, and we look forward to seeing many of our friends again. Thanks in 7-3, Mark, N4BCD, Huntsville Hamfest chairman. The Huntsville Hamfest is a world-class ham radio gathering and, since 1993, the home of the Newsline Young Ham of the Year presentation. Mark your calendars for this one, and we'll see you there August 21st and 22nd. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW.
A lot of celebrating took place around the world and on the air during the weekend of February 13th and 14th. It was the 10th anniversary of UNESCO's World Radio Day, recognizing radio as the single most consumed medium with an ability to reach the world's largest and most diverse audiences. Amateur radio was, of course, a big part of the global activities. In Spain, call signs were activated with the suffix WRD from the 12th through the 14th of the month. Hams throughout India had a variety of activities on tap. In the southern Indian state of Kerala, the Institute of Amateur Radio had hams on the radio reminding people of the rescue and disaster assistance that hams provide during floods, cyclones, and other events. A radio festival displayed antique and unusual equipment from handhelds to rare transmitters. Hams also got busy preparing for a 2-day field day in India on the 27th and 28th of February, where emergency communications will be given a test run. The website, weather.com, even got into the act by posting an article reminding people of ham's unique ability to assist in emergencies even when commercial power has been cut off. One celebration began over the weekend and will continue for at least a while longer. Be listening for the call sign 4U13FEB until the 28th of February. Members of the UN Global Service Center ARC in Brindisi, Italy, are calling QRZ until then to promote World Radio Day. Meanwhile, get ready for the next big event specifically for hams. Sunday, April 18th is World Amateur Radio Day. If you've ever been off the air for a year or so, you know that your first contact has got to be a good one, especially if it's a serious DX like the one we hear next about from Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
The completion of a complicated upgrade of an aging antenna at the Deep Space Network in Canberra, Australia, has restored full contact between Earth and the Voyager 2 probe. The trailblazing spacecraft, which was launched 44 years ago by NASA, had been crossing the heavens in relative silence after a 70-metre dish there known as DSS-43 was shut down and dismantled for a needed refreshing. In space, as on Earth, however, few things are immune to the impact of the global pandemic. The ordinarily large team of experts NASA would have sent to Canberra for the makeover was limited to 4 for safety reasons, and the reduced size of the team delayed the upgrade's progress. With DSS-43 being the only antenna capable of communicating with Voyager 2, the probe had few options for communicating. It could only transmit to the smaller dishes in Canberra, but was unable to receive any commands, especially those that could have fixed problems if any had been detected on board. After a test message was sent last October when DSS-43 was partially reassembled, NASA and other experts were optimistic. Now, with DSS-43 back in business, the long silence is over. But two-way contact still requires something of a wait. Round-trip communication between Earth and the faraway Voyager 2 takes 35 hours. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Graham Kemp in Canberra, VK4BB, Port 2.
A ham known for years of powerful operations at lighthouses throughout the UK has become a silent key. Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, tells us about him.
Handel Bluer, G3UUZ, who was also known as Andy, is perhaps best recalled by hams throughout the UK for the remarkable long-wire antennas he would string from the top of whatever lighthouse he happened to be activating. That included those times he operated from Bishop Rock between 1976 and 1980, where he worked pile-up after pile-up, according to his son Redder's M5ACT. Redders told Newsline he remembered his father saying that he was able to work stations in America from there long before anyone else in the UK was able to do so. Andy became a silent key this month at the age of 92. He had achieved recognition in the Shortwave magazine of July 1971 for his noted abilities in top-band operation from such lighthouses as Nash Point in South Wales. And his fondness for lighthouse operations earned him a profile in the March 2000 issue of Practical Wireless magazine, where the authors of the article said they were pleased to be sharing his insights into, quote, finding a happy medium between being a lighthouse keeper and a radio amateur, end quote. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the K7ECI repeater in the Elmore County Amateur Radio Club in Mountain Home, Idaho, on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. local time. Who doesn't want to get outdoors? Young hams in IARU Region 1 are making plans to do just that and holding an online forum. As we hear from Ed Durant, DD5LP.
Summits on the air, islands on the air, worldwide flora and fauna and other radio-friendly outdoor activities will be the focus of discussion among young amateurs during the next YOTA online session this month. It's been held by the Youth Working Group of the IARU Region 1. The programme will begin at 1900 UTC on Thursday the 25th of February. This episode is called Gone Exploring and shares different ways to enjoy outdoor activities. The Youth Working Group Chair, Philip Springer, DK6SP, writes on the hamyota.com website that, as with previous episodes in the series, there will be a question and answer period afterwards. YOTA Online is a monthly presentation by Region 1's youngest amateurs. The events are live streamed on YouTube, Twitch and Facebook, and the organisers are also hoping to stream the proceedings via the QO100 geostationary satellite in digital ATV mode. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ed Durant, DD5LP.
Recent weather extremes through much of the United States put hams preparedness to the test, as we hear from Randy Sly, W4XJ.
Sleet, winter storms, and other severe weather systems, plus power and telecommunications outages, challenged hams across the nation, even as temperatures fell to record lows in parts of the U.S. South. Arctic conditions prevailed through much of the central region of the country as well. The ARRL's Emergency Response Director, Paul Gilbert, KE5ZW, reported on the League website that an AresNet was set up in Texas to track rolling blackouts taking place as the power grid there became overwhelmed by customer demand. The net also handled health and welfare needs and vehicle accident reports. Hams responded to similar conditions as well in Alabama, where the Section Emergency Coordinator, David Gillespie, W4LHQ, also reported on the League website that the region was dealing with power outages and temperatures below freezing. Although not every region activated an Aries group, hams were standing by just in case, as the threat of the return of severe weather hung over many regions. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Randy Sly, W4XJ.
In Australia, one radio group has directed its problem solving towards hams unable to fulfill the regulator's requirement for a permanent address. Here's Robert Broomhead, VK3DN, with more.
The ACMA's requirement that hams in Australia provide a public postal address to be certified and licensed left some amateurs with a dilemma. They don't have a fixed address at the moment because they've been travelling, or perhaps they're in a vulnerable segment of the population. Leave it to amateur radio ingenuity and problem solving to resolve this issue. The Pride Radio Group, created last year as a welcoming organisation for amateur radio operators in the LGBTQ community, has arranged a free mail redirection service for its members in Australia. It provides a post office box address that can be publicly listed as a separate from the address of the hams QTH. The radio group's founder, Michaela Wheeler, VK3FUR VK4XSS, said Pride is providing the mail redirection service free to its members with the help of provider Hotsnail. Michaela said members receive an address to use on their registration paperwork, and if mail arrives at that address, Hotsnail scans it and forwards it to the address the ham has provided. While this service cannot be used for QSL cards, Michaela said it does solve the address problem for the ACMA's required paperwork. Michaela said that because Pride Radio Group operates as a virtual entity, using Hotsnail made the most sense because the service can be managed remotely. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Robert Broomhead, VK3DN.
Researchers in Moscow have developed a terahertz detector with unprecedented sensitivity, and it shows promise in several areas of science. Jack Parker, W8ISH, has the details.
A development from researchers in Moscow has presented what researchers consider good prospects for radio astronomy, wireless communications, medical diagnostics, and security systems. It involves the use of something called quantum mechanical tunneling in graphene. The scientists have used it to create a highly sensitive terahertz detector. This solves the problem of inefficiency when mobile systems make use of extremely high frequencies beyond the traditional ones used today. Most transistors in use today in typical wireless receivers aren't fast enough to recharge at those frequencies. Wi-Fi receivers typically use signals at about 5 gigahertz, and 5G mobile can transmit as high as 20 gigahertz, but going much higher usually poses a challenge. What researchers in Moscow and the University of Manchester have created is a device much more sensitive to those in commercial use now, which are based on semiconductors and superconductors. In this new development, the application of even very low voltage to control contact or gate in a tunneling transistor aligns energy levels of the source and channel, permitting current to flow. On the website phys.org, one of Moscow researchers, Dennis Baldwin, writes, quote, "The current characteristics give rise to hopes for the creation of fast and sensitive detectors for wireless communications," end quote. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jack Parker, W8ISH.
We conclude this week's report by asking, can your call sign go the distance? For one Pennsylvania Amateur Radio Club, the answer is a resounding yes. Ralph Squilacci, KK6ITB, tells us why.
This could be the world's tiniest QSL card for the world's rarest DX thus far. The Perseverance rover, arriving on Mars to look for signs of past microbial life and collect climate and geographic data, will be carrying the name of the Holmesburg Amateur Radio Club with it. The Pennsylvania Club's name and call sign, WM3PEN, is one of almost 11 million names on board, stenciled into one of 3 tiny silicon chips by an electron beam as part of NASA's Send Your Name to Mars campaign. The club is perhaps best well known for running the annual 13 Colonies special event that takes place around America's Independence Day celebrations each year. Sure, the club had more than enough company on its journey when the launch took off at Kennedy Space Center in Florida last summer, But how many of them are space travel veterans like the Holmesburg Hams? Club trustee Bob Jossuite, WA3PZO, told Newsline that this is the second trek to Mars for the club's call sign. The first journey was in 2011 on board the rover named Curiosity, where the club's call sign joined some 1.2 million names. Bob told Newsline the club decided it was worth going along for the ride again. Talk about perseverance. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ralph Squillace, KK6ITB.
With thanks to Amateur News Weekly, the ARRL, Bob Jossuite, WA3PZO, CQ Magazine, David Behar, K7DB, EOS, HamSci, Indian Express, Michaela Wheeler, VK3FUR, NASA, New York Times, Ohio Penn DX Newsletter, Phys.org, QRZ.com, Practical Wireless, Radio Society of Great Britain, Redders Bluer, M5ACT, Shortwave Magazine, Simon Strange, M0SYS, Southgate Amateur Radio News, shortwaveradio.de, Southgate, Steve Hartley, G0FUW, Ted Randall's QSO Radio Show, the Wireless Institute of Australia, WTWW Shortwave, Yoda, and you, our listeners. That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. Please send emails to our address at newsline@arnewsline.org. More information is available at Amateur Radio Newsline's only official website at arnewsline.org. For now, with Karen Eve Murray, Katie to GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news teams worldwide, I'm Paul Brown, WD9GCO, in Valparaiso, Indiana, saying 73. And as always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2021. All rights reserved.